Tomlin, one of the winningest coaches in the NFL, had time today. Now, we know Andrew Berry has been a topic of discussion ever since he pretty much traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Well, it looked like Mike Tomlin kind of found it odd that he would do a trade like that. Now, we know that, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Kevin Stefanski just turned into a cold-blooded assassin at the mic. One comment, and Mike McDaniel's entire Miami vibe collapsed faster than a Dolphins playoff run. Nobody saw it coming. Yeah, Stefanski didn't coach today. He committed a crime.
If the Browns lose this game, Kevin Stefanski is going to be fired. It might not be the day after the game, it might not be a week after the game, but he is going to be fired. And if the Dolphins lose this game, Mike McDaniel is probably getting fired the next day.
One coach is getting fired this weekend. Which one is it going to be? Is it going to be Mike McDaniel for the Dolphins, or is it going to be Kevin Stefanski? And how can they keep their jobs? When it comes to Kevin Stefanski, since week 14 of last season, you have only averaged 13.7 points. So at this point,
Somewhere in Cleveland, Kevin Stefanski must have woken up, stared at the rain, and said, "Yeah, today's the day I become a savage." Because by the end of that Dolphins game, it wasn't just about football anymore. It was personal.
So basically, Mike Tomlin had time today. He definitely had time today, dog. A lot of people was talking about this. Yeah, man. What's this say? Thought they fired Tomlin for a second. Somebody said Mike Tomlin appears quite stunned that the Browns would make a trade without thinking about how it might affect Mike Tomlin. I don't know, man. Tomlin cooked the Browns. He definitely...
Mike McDaniel came in with his slick shades, big brain offense, and energy drink enthusiasm, ready to show off his genius. And Stefanski? He calmly sipped his coffee, called a handful of checkdowns, handed the ball off a few dozen times, and still walked out looking like the quiet villain who just destroyed the quirky protagonist in Act 3.
Sports has a story out. NFL head coach hot seat ranking. One is already down, so who's next? Brian Callahan was number one on their list. Who's number one now? Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins. Okay. He was number two until Callahan got fired. Who's number two on the list?
Aaron.
The best part? He didn't need a single quote-unquote moment. He just let the scoreboard do all the talking. 31 to basically, please stop. And then, because apparently humiliation wasn't enough, he dropped one comment so dry, so subtle, it might have sucked the moisture out of the entire press room.
McDaniel, will he get fired this week? And I'm here to tell you, as of right now, I don't know. But he did say, well, you know what? As long as I got a job, I'm going to still be coaching. That's exactly what he's doing. Still coaching, bruh. But it was just a tough bout today, losing to the circus, the Cleveland Browns.
See, the Browns didn't win this one with fancy schemes or trickery. They won with pure boredom. Stefanski unleashed the most disrespectful kind of offense imaginable, the "I don't even need to try" game plan. Gabriel threw fewer passes than your grandma sends texts, and still managed to look like the future.
There's the possibility that whichever team loses this game this week loses its head coach. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's
it's
legit?
A storyline. I don't necessarily believe that that's 100% true for Kevin Stefanski. I just don't believe it. You guys tell me. I mean, we listen.
Meanwhile, the Dolphins' defense looked like it got caught in a wind tunnel of confusion. Every time Gabriel handed off the ball, Quan Jenkins was gone, 3 touchdowns deep into Mike McDaniel's nightmares.
There's so many different things that you can point to as to why Kevin Stefanski needs not to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns no more. It ain't even just the offensive scheme or the play calling or the anemic offense. It's just that after 6 years, I find it hard to believe that his message is still resonating in that locker room.
And if you watched the press conference, you could tell Stefanski knew exactly what he'd done. He walked in, looked like a man who just filed taxes early, and calmly dismantled every question thrown at him.
As you guys know, Grant is a leader in this football team. He plays his butt off every single week. I think he just like anybody. We know what the fun in this business is. So that's all part of it.
The moment he mentioned drawing up Wildcat plays because of 60-mile-per-hour winds, you could feel McDaniel's soul trying to reboot. Imagine being outcoached by weather. What makes this all funnier is that Stefanski didn't even look happy about it. He looked inconvenienced.
For, motto that he wanted this team to buy into to go chase a Super Bowl, that they no longer believe in that motto because they probably no longer believe in him. You can preach what you want to preach all day long, and you can have people, try to buy into this fact of having some blind faith all day long. But at the end of the day, if you don't see results after a while, you're going to start to lose faith.
The reporters tried to dig. They brought up frustration from last week, players speaking out, Myles Garrett calling for more runs. It wasn't aimed at McDaniel directly, but everyone in that room knew. That's the beauty of it.
No, I think he did everything to lose the game. I think you saw a lot of frustrated players, from the season, allow it to seep into our play and keep us from executing. So the list goes on.
Stefanski didn't need to say, "We just outcoached Miami." He implied it. He wrapped the whole thing in professional politeness, served it on a plate of passive-aggressive satisfaction, and walked away like nothing happened. Even the fans stayed, soaked and freezing, just to watch Miami collapse in slow motion.
I think if I worry about my job security, I won't be doing my job. And I think that inherently is against all things that I believe in. I've never felt entitled to any sort of I've never felt entitled to this position, and it's very important for me to spend all of my waking hours worrying about exactly how to do my job.
And as the press conference wrapped, Stefanski dropped that quiet little, "We're coming," not yelled. Mike McDaniel probably got back on that plane questioning everything. His play calling, his sunglasses, maybe even his Wi-Fi password. Meanwhile, Cleveland's locker room sounded like a team that finally remembered what it's like to have fun.
I think a game like this, I think we didn't see coming in terms of our prep, but you absolutely, with 100% certainty, have to evaluate everything. I think it goes for, no person or no player or no coach is got their hands clean. And we have to go back to work.
They didn't just win, they exercised an identity crisis. So yeah, Kevin Stefanski didn't need to shout. He didn't need theatrics. He just walked in, dismantled Miami's pride, and left behind a message so cold you could store leftovers in it. And for once, it feels like the Browns aren't just coming.